small alien ship drifted in the cold darkness of space like a broken bird. Captain Zareth pressed her thin, crystal-like fingers against the control panel and felt nothing but dead metal. No power, no warmth, no hope. Around her, the other Altarians moved slowly through the dying ship. Their bodies were fragile things, made of living crystal that caught and reflected the dim emergency lights. They spoke in soft whispers that sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Fear filled their voices. "Captain," said Science Officer Veleth, floating toward her with careful movements. "The main engine is completely dead. The backup power will last maybe 6 more hours." Zareth looked out through the clear wall of their ship. Stars filled the view, cold and distant. They were alone in the empty space between star systems. No other Altarian ships would come this far from home. No one knew they were here. "About the emergency beacon?" she asked. Veleth's crystal body dimmed with worry. "We could send it on all frequencies. Captain, we don't know who might hear it. There could be dangerous species out here." The Altarians had always been careful. Their homeworld was a gentle place, with low gravity and thin air. They built their ships to be light and fast, not strong. They avoided conflict because their bodies could not handle violence. Even a small impact could shatter their crystal forms. But now they had no choice. "Send the signal," Zareth said quietly. "Send it wide. Ask for help from any peaceful beings who might hear us." Veleth worked at the communication panel with shaking hands. The message went out into space, traveling at the speed of light toward any ship that might be listening. "Gentle beings of the stars," the message said. "We are the Altarians of the ship Gentle Dawn. Our engines have failed. We need rescue. We are peaceful people. Please help us." The signal raced through space, carrying their hope with it. 3 days away, on the human warship Iron Will, Communications Officer Katie Barnes was drinking her morning coffee when the alien signal arrived. The ship's computers caught it first. Running the strange sounds through translation programs, Katie almost choked. On her coffee, when she read the translation on her screen, "Captain Murphy to the bridge," she called into her comm unit. "We've got first contact?" Captain Jake Murphy was a big man with gray hair and scars on his hands from years of military service. He had fought in the Outer Rim Wars and commanded rescue missions in the most dangerous parts of space. When he walked onto the bridge, his heavy boots made the metal floor ring. "What do we have, Barnes?" he asked Katie. Played the message for her. "Him." The alien voices sounded like music, but the translation was clear. A ship in distress. People asking for help. Murphy studied the star charts. "How far out are they?" "About 3 days at full speed, sir. They're way out in the empty zone between systems." Murphy nodded. He had spent his whole career saving people. It did not matter if they were human or alien. People in trouble needed help. "Send a message to Admiral Grant on Earth," he ordered. "Tell her we have first contact with a species requesting rescue. We're going to need a proper fleet for this one." Katie looked surprised. "A fleet, sir?" "It's just one small ship." Murphy smiled grimly. "This is first contact with an alien species. We're going to do this right. We show up with everything we need to help them and protect ourselves. Standard rescue protocol." The message to Earth traveled through the quantum communication network, reaching Admiral Lisa Grant in her office at Earth Command within minutes. Grant was a tough woman who had worked her way up through the ranks. She had gray hair pulled back in a tight bun and eyes that missed nothing. She read Murphy's report twice, then called her staff. "We have a first contact situation," she announced to the room full of officers. "Alien vessel in distress. I want Rescue Fleet 7 assembled and ready to jump in for hours." Commander Sam Taylor, head of the Marine Corps Rescue Division, stepped forward. "What kind of threat assessment do we have on these aliens, Admiral?" "Unknown," Grant replied. "They claim to be peaceful, but we prepare for anything. Load full rescue equipment and standard security measures. This is first contact, people. We represent all of humanity here." Within hours, 5 of humanity's most powerful warships were moving toward the jump point. The flagship Devastator was a massive vessel built to fight entire enemy fleets. Its hull was 2 miles long and packed with enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Captain Ryan Cole commanded her with a crew of 3,000. The Stormbringer was an assault carrier, loaded with atmospheric fighters and marine battalions. Captain Amy Foster had led it through a dozen combat zones. The ship could deploy an entire army and support them with air cover. 3 more heavy cruisers completed the fleet. Each one was designed to survive in the most hostile environments space could offer. Their hulls were thick enough to withstand direct hits from nuclear weapons. Their sensors could track a single ship across an entire star system to the humans. This was a standard rescue fleet. They brought heavy ships because space was dangerous. They carried weapons because unknown threats might be waiting. They packed medical supplies, repair equipment, and enough food to support a small city because they never knew what they might find. Dr. Helen Price, the fleet's xenobiologist, watched the ships prepare from her office on Earth. She felt worried, but could not put her finger on why. Something about the alien message bothered her. They had called themselves gentle beings and asked for help from other peaceful species. What if these aliens really were as gentle as they claimed? What if they saw humanity's rescue fleet as something else entirely? But her concerns were lost in the excitement of first contact. The fleet jumped to hyperspace, racing toward the dying alien ship at faster-than-light speed, the humans thought. They were bringing salvation. They had no idea they looked like an invasion force to the terrified aliens waiting in the dark. Science Officer Velith stared at the sensor readings and felt his crystal body go cold with fear. The numbers could not be right. He ran the scan again, then a third time. Each time the results were the same. "Captain Zareth," he called, his voice shaking like broken glass. "You need to see this." Captain Zarath floated over to the science station. The emergency power was almost gone now, and the ship felt like a tomb. But what she saw on the screen made her forget about their dying ship. 5 contacts approaching, Velith whispered. "Captain, these are not rescue ships. These are weapons of war." The largest ship showed energy readings that made no sense. Was putting out more power than their entire home fleet combined. The sensors said it was over 2 miles long and massed more than a small moon. "How is this possible?" Zareth asked. "What kind of beings build ships like this?" Velith pulled up. "More data. The weapons signatures alone could destroy our home world. Each ship carries enough firepower to level continents. Captain, we called for help, and we got a war fleet." Around the bridge, other Alterians gathered to look at the readings. Their crystal forms dimmed with terror. In their gentle society, the largest warship was barely 300 feet long. They had never seen violence on this scale. "They must be conquerors," whispered Navigator Pithel. "We sent out a signal and revealed our location to predators." "Captain." Zara felt the weight of her mistake. She had doomed not just her crew, but possibly her entire species. These massive ships were coming fast, and there was nowhere to run. "Send another message," she ordered. "Tell them we withdraw our request for help. Tell them we are sorry for bothering them." Velith sent the message, but even as he did, they all knew it was too late. The war fleet was still coming. Meanwhile, aboard the human flagship Devastator, Captain Ryan Cole studied the tactical display with satisfaction. The rescue fleet was making good time. It would reach the alien ship in 18 hours, his bridge. Crew worked quietly around him. These were experienced military personnel who had served in combat zones across human space. To them, this was just another mission. Sir called Lieutenant Tony Baker from the sensor station. "We're getting another transmission from the alien vessel." Cole listened to the translation. The aliens seemed upset about something. They were asking the human fleet to stay away and saying they were sorry for calling for help. "They must be really scared," Cole said to his first officer, Commander Lisa Hayes. "Probably think they're going to die before we get there. Send them a message back. Tell them we're almost there and everything will be fine." The message went out from the Devastator's military communication array. The signal was so powerful, it could reach across multiple star systems. To the humans, it was just standard long-range communications. To the Alterians, it looked like a demonstration of impossible technology. on Earth. Dr. Helen Price sat in her laboratory reading the alien transmissions. Something was wrong. The aliens seemed more frightened with each message, not relieved. She called Admiral Grant's office.
Admiral, I think we have a problem, she said when Grant answered. These aliens are getting more scared as our fleet approaches.
I think they might see us as a threat. Admiral Grant sounded tired. Dr. Price, they're stranded in space with a dying ship. Of course they're scared. Our fleet will get them to safety. But Admiral, look at their language patterns. They keep using words like gentle and peaceful. They might be from a very non-violent species. Our rescue fleet might look like an invasion force to them. There was silence on the line. Then Grant spoke again. Doctor, I appreciate your concerns, but we can't change course now. We have our best people handling this. Captain Murphy knows what he's doing. Dr. Price hung up, feeling frustrated. She looked at her computer screen, studying the alien language. The more she learned about these beings, the more worried she became. Back on the Iron Will, Captain Murphy was having his own concerns. The aliens kept sending messages that seemed to contradict each other. First they asked for help, then they asked to be left alone, then they apologized for existing. Katie, he said to his communications officer, are we sure the translation? Software is working right. Katie Barnes checked her systems. Yes, sir. Everything looks good. Maybe they're just really confused. Being stranded in space can mess with your head. Murphy nodded. He had seen it before in human survivors. Fear and isolation could make people act strangely. Keep monitoring their transmissions. Let me know if anything changes. On the Stormbringer, Captain Amy Foster was preparing her Marines for the rescue operation. Commander Sam Taylor stood before 200 soldiers in the main briefing room. Listen. Up, Taylor said. This is first contact with an alien species. We don't know what their environment is like, so we go in prepared for anything. Full combat armor, standard weapons, and complete environmental protection. The Marines nodded. They were used to dangerous rescues. Space was full of hazards that could kill unprepared humans in seconds. They loaded their gear with enough firepower to fight through a small war and enough equipment to handle any emergency to the Marines. This was just another rescue mission. They had no idea that their standard gear would look like an invasion force to peaceful beings. The human fleet continued toward the alien ship, confident they were bringing salvation. Every ship ran active sensors, scanning for threats and hazards. The powerful beams swept through space, gathering information about the area around the alien vessel. On the gentle dawn, no sensor sweeps registered as targeting locks. The Alterians huddled together as the human ships approached, convinced they were about to be destroyed by beings so violent that they traveled in ships of pure war. Captain Zarath made one last decision. She activated the ship's emergency beacon and aimed it toward Alterian space. If they were going to die, at least their people would know what happened. The message she sent was simple and terrible. You're about to be destroyed by warriors from the dark between stars. Beware the ships that carry death as easily as breath. We are sorry we led them to find us. The beacon shot toward home, carrying news of humanity's approach. Soon, the Alterian government would know that their colony ship had made contact with the most dangerous predators the galaxy had ever seen. Neither species understood what was really happening. The humans thought they were racing to save lives. The Alterians thought they were watching death approach in ships too terrible to imagine. Stage was set for a first contact that could destroy both civilizations. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace like thunder rolling across the sky. 5 massive warships appeared in the darkness around the small alien vessel, their hulls gleaming with armor and bristling with weapons. Captain Ryan Cole stood on the bridge of the Devastator and looked at the alien ship through the main viewer. It was tiny compared to his vessel, maybe 300 feet long and built like a soap bubble. The hull seemed to be made of some kind of crystal that caught and reflected light. That's their ship? Asked Commander Lisa Hayes. Looks like it might break if we breathed on it too hard. Cole nodded. Sensors show minimal life support and no weapons. This is definitely a rescue situation. Take us to 2,000 meters and hold position. The Devastator moved closer, its massive bulk casting shadows over the alien vessel. To Captain Cole, this was a safe distance that would allow easy rescue operations. To the Alterians watching from inside their dying ship, it looked like a mountain of death settling into position above them on the gentle dawn. Captain Zareth watched the human ships arrange themselves around her vessel. The largest one positioned itself directly overhead, like a predator ready to strike. The others formed what looked like a perfect attack formation. Surrounding us, whispered Science Officer Veleth. Classic hunting pattern. They're making sure we can't escape. Through the crystal walls of their ship, the Alterians could see the human vessels up close. Every surface was covered with weapon ports, sensor arrays, and thick armor plating. These were not rescue ships. These were instruments of war. Captain Murphy aboard the Iron Will opened a communication channel to the entire fleet. All ships, this is Rescue Operation Gentle Dawn. Remember, this is first contact. We represent all of humanity here. Let's show these people what human compassion looks like. The translation computers on the alien ship picked up Murphy's transmission. When Zareth heard the words Operation Gentle Dawn, she felt her crystal heart nearly stop. Humans had named their attack after her ship. They had turned her vessel's name into a battle cry. Captain, said Navigator Pithel, they're preparing to board us. From the Stormbringer, several small craft launched toward the alien ship. These were human rescue shuttles, designed to operate in the most dangerous environments space could offer. Their hulls were thick enough to survive in the heart of a star. They carried enough equipment to establish a base on a hostile world. Lieutenant Commander Beth Wright piloted the lead shuttle. She wore full combat armor that made her look like a walking tank. The armor was designed to keep humans alive in environments that would kill most species instantly. It had built-in weapons, medical systems, and enough power to run for weeks. Approaching the alien vessel, Wright reported to Captain Murphy. The hull looks fragile. I'm going to use minimum power on the docking clamps. Wright engaged what she thought were gentle docking procedures. The shuttle's magnetic clamps locked onto the alien ship's hull with what humans considered a soft touch. To the Alterians, it felt like their ship was being grabbed by a giant metal fist. The docking clamps punched through the crystal hull like it was made of glass. Emergency alarms wailed throughout the alien ship as atmosphere began to leak into. Space hull breach, screamed Veleth. They're tearing us apart. Wright saw the damage on her sensors and felt terrible. Control, this is Wright. I've accidentally breached their hull. These people are even more fragile than we thought. Beginning emergency boarding procedures. She activated her armor's cutting tools and began to widen the breach so her team could enter safely. The tools were designed to cut through battleship armor, so the alien hull parted like paper before them. Wright and her 5-person team entered the alien ship. Their heavy boots rang like hammer blows on the crystal floors. Each step sent vibrations through the fragile structure, causing small cracks to appear in the walls. The first thing Wright saw were the aliens themselves. They were beautiful, like living sculptures made of colored crystal. They huddled together in terror, their bodies flickering with fear. Don't be afraid, Wright said through her armor's external speakers. The speakers were designed to be heard over battlefield noise, so her voice boomed through the alien ship like the roar of an angry god. The Alterians pressed themselves against the far wall, too terrified to move. To them, Wright looked like a demon from their worst nightmares. Her armor was black and massive, covered with weapons and tools of destruction. When she spoke, her voice shook their fragile bones. Wright tried to approach them slowly, but her armored boots cracked the crystal floor with each step. We're here to help you, she said. Not understanding why they seemed so frightened, Captain Zareth found her voice. Please, she whispered, we surrender. Don't hurt us. We have no weapons. We offer no resistance. Wright's translation system picked up the words, but she was confused. Surrender, ma'am. This is a rescue operation. We're here to get you to safety. Behind Wright, more Marines entered the ship, carried medical equipment that looked like weapons to the aliens, repair tools that seemed designed for torture, and emergency supplies that appeared to be invasion gear. Sergeant Mike Chen tried to help by activating a portable heater to warm the cold alien ship. The device put out enough heat to warm a human in Arctic conditions. To the heat-sensitive Altarians, it felt like standing next to a furnace. "Temperature's too cold for humans in here," Chen reported, bringing it up to comfortable levels. Aliens began to collapse from the heat. Their crystal bodies were not designed for the temperatures that humans found comfortable. What the Marines thought was helping was actually killing them. Wright saw the aliens falling and thought they were sick. "Medical emergency," she called. "Get the medics in here now." More humans poured into the alien ship. Each one wore full armor and carried enough equipment to supply a military unit. To the humans, this was a careful rescue operation. To the aliens, it was an overwhelming invasion by creatures too powerful to fight. Captain Murphy watched from the iron will as his people worked to save the alien crew. "Good work, people," he said. "Let's get these folks back on their feet and show them what human friendship looks like." But on the alien ship, Captain Zareth lay on the cracked crystal floor, certain that she was watching her people's final moments. The humans moved around them like giants, their every action causing more damage to the fragile vessel. "Why?" she whispered to Science Officer Valeth. "Why are they doing this to us?" "We asked for help." Valeth could barely speak. The heat and vibrations from the human equipment were overwhelming his senses. "Maybe this is how they help," he gasped. "Maybe they don't know how to be gentle." Neither species understood what was really happening. The humans thought they were conducting a careful rescue operation. The aliens thought they were being slowly destroyed by beings who had never learned the meaning of mercy. The first contact between humanity and the Altarians was becoming a disaster that neither side had wanted or expected. The news spread through human space like wildfire. First contact with an alien species. Admiral Grant sat in her office on Earth, reading reports from the rescue operation with growing excitement. "This is the chance of a lifetime," she said too. Her aide, Colonel Jim Parker, "We need to show these aliens the best of humanity. Send word to the medical corps. I want the hospital ship Mercy deployed immediately." The UES Mercy was humanity's largest medical vessel. It was designed to handle casualties from planetary invasions, equipped with surgical suites that could rebuild a human body from almost nothing. The ship was 3 miles long and carried enough medical supplies to treat 1 million wounded soldiers. Captain Tony Mitchell received his orders aboard the science vessel Discovery. His ship was smaller than the warships, but it carried the most advanced research equipment humanity had ever built. Dr. Helen Price stood beside him on the bridge, getting her chance to study the aliens firsthand. "Captain," she said, "I'm concerned about what I'm reading in these reports. The aliens seem to be getting more frightened, not less. I think we're approaching this wrong." Mitchell looked at the tactical display showing the alien ship surrounded by human vessels. Captain Murphy has the situation under control. These people are scared because their ship was dying. Now that we're helping them, everything will be fine." But Dr. Price was not convinced. She had spent her life studying alien cultures. Everything about this situation felt wrong. Far away in Altarian space, the emergency beacon from the Gentle Dawn finally reached the homeworld. Council leader Nethes received the message in the crystal spires of the planetary capital. She read Captain Zareth's final transmission with growing horror. "Assemble the Defense Council," she ordered her aide. "We have a crisis." Within hours, 12 Altarian patrol ships were moving toward human space. These vessels were the pride of the Altarian fleet, built for speed and exploration. Each one was barely 200 feet long, with hulls made of living crystal. They carried no weapons because the Altarians had never needed them. Captain Veltar commanded the lead ship, the Swift Current. He was young for an Altarian fleet commander, but he had spent years exploring the outer regions of space. Now he led his people toward what might be their final battle. "Council leader," he transmitted back to the homeworld, "we are approaching the location where the Gentle Dawn sent their last message. We detect multiple large vessels in the area." Nithia sat in her crystal chamber, surrounded by the other council members. They were ancient beings, their crystal bodies worn smooth by centuries of life. They had never faced a crisis like this. "Captain Veltar," she said, "you are authorized to offer our surrender. These humans have shown they can destroy our ships. Easily. Perhaps if we submit to their rule, they will spare our people. The Alterian fleet moved closer to the human rescue operation. Their sensors detected the massive human ships surrounding the dying colony vessel. To the Alterians, it looked like a pack of predators feeding on their prey. Captain Murphy aboard the Iron Will was the first to detect the approaching Alterian ships. "Contacts coming in fast," reported Communications Officer Katie Barnes. 12. Small vessels, probably alien design. Murphy studied the tactical display. The ships were tiny compared to human vessels, but they were moving in formation. Could be their military responding to our rescue operation. "Open a channel to their lead ship." The message went out from the Iron Will's communication array. Powered. "Buy enough energy to reach across star systems." Alien vessels. This is Captain Jake Murphy of the Human Rescue Fleet. "We are providing aid to your people aboard the vessel Gentle Dawn. Please maintain a safe distance while we complete our operations." Captain Veltar received the transmission and felt his crystal heart stop. The human ship had just demonstrated communication technology beyond anything the Alterians possessed. The power levels required for such a transmission could only come from a civilization built for war. "Council leader," he reported back to his homeworld, "the humans have made contact. Their message sounds like a demand. They claim to be rescuing the Gentle Dawn, but we know they are destroying it." Thies made the hardest decision of her long life. "Captain Veltar, transmit our surrender. Tell them we submit to human authority. Perhaps they will show mercy to a defeated enemy." The Alterian surrender message reached the human fleet, but the translation computers struggled with the formal language. What came through sounded like a diplomatic greeting from the alien government. Admiral Grant, monitoring from Earth, was delighted. "Perfect," she said. "First contact is going better than we hoped. The alien government is welcoming us. Send a response acknowledging their friendship and promising peaceful cooperation." The human reply went out with all the power of their military communication system. To the humans, it was a message of peace and friendship. To the Alterians, it sounded like the triumphant roar of conquerors accepting their submission. Meanwhile, aboard the Gentle Dawn, Dr. Helen Price finally arrived with the discovery. She entered the alien ship wearing a lightweight environmental suit instead of combat armor. The difference was immediately obvious to the terrified Alterians, while the Marines looked like walking tanks. Dr. Price appeared almost human-sized. Her suit was designed for research, not warfare. When she spoke, her voice was soft and gentle, instead of booming like thunder. "Hello," she said to Captain Zeroth. "My name is Helen. I'm here to help you communicate with my people." Zareth looked up from where she lay on the cracked crystal floor. This human seemed different from the others, smaller, less frightening. "Are you their leader?" she whispered. "No," Dr. Price said. "I'm a scientist. I study different species and how they communicate. I think there's been a misunderstanding here." Science Officer Veleth crawled closer, his crystal body dim with exhaustion. "Your people... They came in ships of war. They surrounded us. They invaded our vessel." Dr. Price felt a chill of understanding. She looked around at the damage caused by the human rescue operation. The cracked floors, the torn hull, the equipment. That was too powerful for the fragile alien ship. "Oh no," she whispered. "We didn't know. We thought we were helping you." "Helping?" Zareth's voice was filled with pain. "Your warriors broke our ship. They fill our air with heat that burns us. They speak with voices that shake our bones." Dr. Price activated her communication device. "Captain Murphy, this is Dr. Price. We have a serious problem. These aliens think we're attacking them. Everything we've done to help has hurt them instead." Murphy's voice came back confused.
Yes.
"Impossible, Doctor. We're following standard rescue procedures. Captain, these people are nothing like humans. Our standard procedures are killing them. We need to change everything we're doing right now." Ow. But even as Dr. Price spoke, the situation was getting worse. The hospital ship Mercy was approaching with enough medical equipment to supply a war zone. The Alterian fleet was preparing to surrender to what they thought were unstoppable conquerors. Both species were moving toward a disaster that would change the galaxy forever. Captain. Veltar transmitted one final message to his homeworld. Council leader, the humans have more ships arriving. We are outnumbered and outgunned. We will try to negotiate terms for our people's survival. Neither species understood what the other was really trying to do. The humans thought they were showing their best qualities to new friends. The Alterians thought they were facing the most dangerous predators the galaxy had ever produced. The fate of both civilizations hung in the balance, and time was running out to prevent a tragedy that no one wanted. Dr. Helen Price knelt beside Captain Zeroth on the cracked crystal floor of the alien ship. Around them, human Marines continued their rescue work, their heavy footsteps shaking the fragile vessel with every movement. Please, Dr. Price said, softly into her communicator. Everyone needs to stop what they're doing right now. We're hurting them. Lieutenant Commander Bethwright's voice came back confused. Doctor, we're just following standard rescue procedures. These people need medical attention. No, Dr. Price said firmly. Your armor weighs more than their entire bodies. Your footsteps are breaking their ship. The heat from our equipment is making them sick. Everything we do to help is hurting them instead. Captain Murphy's voice cut through the communications channel. All teams, this is Murphy. Stand down and wait for new orders. Dr. Price, explain what's happening. Dr. Price looked into Captain Zarath's frightened crystal eyes. Captain, can you help me explain to my people? They don't understand that? They're scaring you. Zaratha's voice was weak but determined. Your people. They came in ships that could destroy worlds. They surrounded us like hunters. They broke into our ship wearing armor of war. Dr. Price translated for the human fleet. She says we look like an invasion force to them. Our ships are too big. Our equipment too powerful. They think we're conquerors, not rescuers. Aboard the Devastator, Captain Ryan Cole stared at his tactical display in shock. Are you telling me they think we're attacking them? Yes, sir, Dr. Price replied. To them. We're the most dangerous thing they've ever seen. They sent a distress call, asking for help from peaceful beings, and we showed up looking like we could destroy their entire civilization. Admiral Grant's voice came through the fleet communication system from Earth. Dr. Price, are you certain about this assessment, Admiral? These people are asking us to accept their surrender. They think they're talking to conquerors. The government sent a fleet to negotiate surrender terms because they're afraid we'll attack their homeworld. A long silence filled the communication channels. Then Admiral Grant spoke again, her voice heavy with understanding. Oh my God, what have we done? On his flagship, Captain Murphy made a decision that would change history. All ships, this is a general order. Power down all weapon systems. Reduce engine output to minimum levels. All personnel in environmental suits switch to soft approach protocols immediately. But even as the humans tried to appear less threatening, the situation continued to spiral. The massive hospital ship Mercy arrived in the system, its 3-mile hull bristling with medical equipment that looked like weapons to the terrified Alterians. Captain Veltar, leading the Alterian surrender fleet, saw the new human ship and felt his crystal heart sink. Council leader, he transmitted to his homeworld, the humans have brought another war vessel. It's larger than anything we've ever seen. They must be planning to invade our space. Dr. Price heard the translation and realized they were running. Out of time, Captain Murphy. I need to try something. Can you have Captain Cole's daughter brought to the Devastator's observation deck? Murphy was confused. Emma. Doctor, this isn't a place for children. Trust me, Dr. Price said. Sometimes. The simplest solutions work best. 20 minutes later, 8-year-old Emma Cole stood at the observation window of the Devastator, looking out at the alien ship. Her father had explained that there were scared people inside who needed help. Dr. Price guided Emma through the communication process. Just say hello, she told the little girl. Tell them your name and that you want to be friends. Emma's young voice went out over the communication system. Hello, alien people. My name's Emma. I'm 8 years old. My daddy says you're scared. Don't be scared. We just want to help you. On the gentle dawn, a young Alterian named Pip heard the transmission. Unlike the adult voices that boomed like thunder, this voice was soft and high, like the singing of crystal wind chimes. Captain Pip said to Zareth, that voice, it sounds like a child. Zareth listened as Emma continued talking. My daddy commands a big ship, but he's really nice. He reads me stories and makes me breakfast. All the people here are good. People, they help others when they're in trouble. For the first time since the humans arrived, Pip spoke into the communication system. Hello, Emma. My name is Pip H. I'm scared because your ships are so big and powerful. Emma's voice came back immediately. Don't be scared, Pip. Big doesn't mean bad. My daddy's ship is big because space is dangerous and we need to be safe. But we would never hurt anyone who needed help. Dr. Price watched as something magical happened. The two children talked to each other across the vastness of space. Their innocent conversation cutting through all the fear and misunderstanding that had built up between their species. Pip, Emma said, do you want to see something cool? I can show you my pet fish. His name is Bubbles. I would like that, Pip replied. Emma, would you like to see how our ship makes music when the crystal walls sing together? As the children talked, the adults on both sides began to understand. Captain Murphy ordered his Marines to remove their heavy armor and approach the aliens in lightweight environmental suits. The difference was immediate and obvious. Captain Zarath watched as the humans transformed from terrifying warriors into recognizable people. Without their massive armor, they looked almost fragile themselves. Dr. Price Zareth said, Your people, they wear that armor because they're afraid? Yes, Dr. Price replied. Space is very dangerous for us. We have to protect ourselves. But we forgot that our protection would look frightening to you. Admiral Grant made the decision that would define humanity's first contact with alien life. All ships were implementing new protocols immediately. The Mercy will withdraw to a safe distance. Only the Discovery and one escort will remain near, the alien vessel. We're going to do this right. Over the next several hours, the humans carefully moved most of their fleet away from the Alterian ship. They explained every action, asked permission for everything they did, and worked slowly and gently to repair the damage they had accidentally caused. Captain Veltar watched from his approaching fleet as the human ships moved away. Council leader he transmitted to his homeworld, something has changed. The humans are withdrawing their forces. They're actually trying to help. Dr. Price worked with both species to establish proper communication protocols. She helped the humans understand that their normal procedures were overwhelming to beings from a gentler world. She helped the Alterians understand that human strength came from living on a dangerous planet. It's not from wanting to hurt others. The breakthrough came when Captain Murphy and Captain Zareth spoke directly to each other for the first time. Their conversation facilitated by Dr. Price and the innocent friendship between Emma and Pip. Captain Zareth, Murphy said, we're sorry we scared you. We came because you called for help, and helping people is what we do. But we didn't know how to help people like you. Captain Murphy, Zareth replied, we understand now. You come? From a world that made you strong so you could protect others? We come from a world that made us gentle so we could create beautiful things. Perhaps together, we can make something wonderful. 6 months later, the first joint human-Alterian research station was completed in neutral space. The humans provided security and heavy construction, while the Alterians contributed their advanced crystal technology and artistic vision. Emma. Cole and Pip met in person for the first time at the station's opening ceremony. Their friendship having grown into the symbol of cooperation between two very different species. Captain Murphy, serving as the human ambassador to the Alterian people, stood beside Captain Zaroth as they watched the children play together. In the station's crystal gardens, you know, Murphy said, this all started with one mistake. You sent a call for help, and we responded with everything we had. Zareth's crystal form sparkled with what humans had learned was Alterian laughter. Perhaps it wasn't a mistake after all. Perhaps it was exactly what both our peoples needed. The galaxy had gained something precious that day. Two species who had nearly destroyed each other through misunderstanding had instead learned to build something beautiful together. The humans found teachers who could show them gentleness and art. The Alterians found protectors who would keep them safe among the stars. And it all began with a little girl and a young alien talking to each other. Across the void and discovering that friendship needs no translation,